So I was just about to start this new upcycled skateboard project and something occurred to me. Starting a new project is not always easy, especially when you have ADHD. You may have heard it, you may not like it. Just start. Or as Nike has attested to for 40 years now, just do it. Now I know that may come off as a little condescending to some of you out there. As some of you may know, I have ADHD, and staying focused has been one of the biggest challenges of my entire life, let alone my professional life. So before I finish this design and complete my previous project, I want to share with you my 5 steps to starting a new creative project. We can sort of think of this as a sequel to my How to Complete Projects with ADHD video that I published back in the spring of last year. You can watch that here and then come back and watch this one. Step 1. Keep a list of your projects and prioritize them. I keep a list of my projects in my bullet journal, and when I come up with a new idea, I add it in there, and once a month, I prioritize them. I use the Eisenhower matrix, and that may help those of you out there who are easily distracted, neurodivergent, struggle with overwhelm, or just struggle with prioritizing the important over the urgent. Eisenhower matrix will help you to stop from falling into the urgency trap. Matrix is divided into 4 quadrants. You, as the user, consider the urgency and the importance. You sort your activities into the appropriate boxes, where each quadrant has a call to action. Do, schedule, delegate, or eliminate. Each quadrant has its priority level. Quadrant 1 tasks should be done first, and Quadrant 4 tasks should be done last or eliminated. If you've never heard of the Eisenhower matrix, I suggest you do a Google search on that. There is a Notion template that I use. It is an invaluable tool in the ADHD artist's productivity, scheduling, prioritizing toolkit. Step 2. Make a playlist. At this point in my process and in starting projects, I make a playlist on Spotify. I sometimes play my favorite albums, depending on what mood I want to be in, but making playlists, even when you're not working on your projects, can actually help you later on when you do sit down to do your projects, because the playlist is there, it's ready for you. You can make them around your moods, around genres. I have playlists that help me feel more like my true self. Playlists that are songs that I forgot about over the years. I like to make a yearly playlist from birthday to birthday each year. If I want to get into a state of an old me or the current me, it's all there ready waiting. Our brains aren't good at remembering things, so make yourself a playlist so that you come back to it later and you can remember, oh that's right, that's the songs that I really like, or that's the music that makes me feel happy or sad or joy or whatever it may be. I like to play lo-fi hip-hop. I spent the last 6 months training my brain to know that when the lo-fi hip-hop is playing, that's focus time, that's work time, that's when we get into the nitty-gritty. So make some playlists. Step number 3. Plan out ahead of time the steps that it takes you to get from the start of your project to the end of your project, and make a checklist out of it. I have a template on my Notion that is a basic checklist for how I get from A to Z on each project, and I've culminated this over the past 6 months on all of the projects that I've been working on. I use Thomas Frank's Notion template for my YouTube videos. I take the markers that I make through my editing process for things like transitions, animations, titles, cards, B-roll, etc. You can bounce out that CSV, and then what I do is I merge that CSV into this template so I can use it as a checklist, which Thomas has this fantastic checklist, and go through one by one and make sure that I don't miss anything and I'm not scattered and overwhelmed during the editing process. This template also has an editing checklist and a publishing checklist, which over time I have customized to my own process. So off the back of this template, I have done the same for my other creative projects, like skateboards, denim jackets, canvas paintings, murals, etc. I will link the template below. Step number 4, reset your space every time that you leave it. Think of this as a gift to your future self. This is a priceless practice. One of the issues most people with ADHD have is overwhelm due to our over-cluttered spaces. If you want to stay consistent with starting your projects and move and flow from one project to the next, you must do what you can to remove as much resistance as possible. So take some time if you need to declutter your creative spaces, your offices, your studios, your garages, and then begin to build a habit one day at a time of resetting your creative space every time that you leave. And this will allow for the next day that you sit down to do your creative project, zero resistance. All you have to do is sit down, grab the materials you need, and get started. Step number 5. Be kind to yourself and set the smallest possible time. This is so important, as you must understand, if you are already struggling to start projects and then deciding on Saturday that you're going to do 5 hours of painting or drawing or video editing, it is just going to cause you even more resistance. And it's going to be counterproductive to what you're trying to achieve, which is finishing the project inevitably, but also starting the project, and will only add more overwhelm and anxiety to the process. So start small. Decide you'll do 20 minutes. Put a timer on, and the strangest and most fascinating thing happens. You'll find that you won't actually do 20 minutes. You'll often do more. Once you've started, once you've got that ball rolling, your brain starts to go, well, I mean, that wasn't so hard, because it takes less than 20 minutes to get into a flow state. And if you followed even half of the steps we've spoken about up to this point, you'll be getting into a flow state fairly quickly. So start with step 1 of the list that you made back in step 3 and commit to only 20 minutes of it. You don't even have to finish that stage in the process. Just commit to 20 minutes of it. That's it. I often find myself adding 20 minutes of my current project to my daily to-do list and schedule and end up doing 2 hours. Now, I do need to say, if you have kids and other responsibilities like day jobs and family, relationships, as you know, those of us with ADHD, we can tend to hyper-focus. So if you're finding that that 20 minutes is turning into 2 hours, you also will need to give yourself a limit on how long you're going to do it. Because the last thing you want to do is have all of your dependents and relationships suffer due to you hyper-focusing. So give yourself 20 minutes and then say, if I go beyond 20 minutes, I will do an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. Especially if you're a business owner like myself, there's a lot of other things you need to commit your time to. And if it were up to me, I'd be painting all day. But that's what I'm working towards, not what I'm doing right now, because everything else will suffer if you hyperfocus. So set 20 minutes, start there, and then set a limitation for how long you will go. And that's it. Best of luck starting your new projects. If you are in fact an artist with ADHD, then your family. And if you would like to join our Facebook group, Artists with ADHD, I'll link it down below. Feel free to join my mailing list. If you'd like to receive regular emails on how to better maintain a creative lifestyle with ADHD, also link below. If you'd like to support this channel, join our Patreon at patreon.com/JordanTMystic. And for everything else, go to JordanTMystic.com. Thank you so much for watching. I've been working on some larger videos lately, and I needed to do something small to help people like me. And this is not my normal type of video, but hopefully this lav mic sounds good, and thank you so much for your support if you made it this far. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. I will see you in the next video. All the love, all the power. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, stay weird. Did you hear DC superhero girls in the background? I don't know why I didn't turn the camera off. Forgot to do this.